เจริญพรทุกคน
Greetings, everyone.
อนุโมทนานะทุกคนเราสนใจ
Anumodana, everyone, that we are interested in practicing
นอกจาก
Dhamma.
จะเป็นประโยชน์ของ
Apart
ตัวเรา
from
เองแล้ว
being benefits from us
ยัง
to
มีการ
ourselves,
รักษาสืบทอด
it
พระศาส
also
นาอย่างดีมาก
extended the time frame of
การสืบทอด
Buddhism
ศาสนานะ
very
ถ้า
well
เรา
to extend the Buddhism period.
ตำรา
If
ทรง
you
จำไว้อะไร
learn from the text
มัน
and
ไม่
you
ได้เนื้อ
memorize
หา
them,
สาระ
you don't really
ข
get
อง
the
ศาส
content,
นา
the
ไม่ได้
essence
ประโย
of
ชน์
the
สูงสุด
Buddhism
ประโยช
to
น์
the
สูงสุด
most.
ของศาสนาพุทธเราคือ
To make the
ความ
most
พ้
of
น
it
ทุกข์
is when we can
นี่คือ
transcend
หมายปลาย
the
ทาง
suffering.
เลย
That's
ปฏิ
the
บัติเราก็
ultimate
ต้องพ้น
purpose
ทุ
of
กข์ได้
Buddhism. When you come to practice Dhamma, you have to be able to transcend the suffering.
นี่คนที่จะปฏิบัติจนพ้นทุกข์ได้
For those who practice until
ต้อง
they
รู้วิธี
transcend the
ปฏิบัติ
suffering, they have to understand the
รู้
way
วิ
to
ธีแล้วก็
practice
ต้อง
Dhamma.
ทำให้มากให้พอ
When we understand the way, then we have to do sufficiently.
จุดสำคัญตรงที่
The important
ทำยังไง
thing
จะรู้
is that how
วิธี
could
ปฏิบัติ
we understand the way to
ก็
practice
มี
Dhamma?
วิธีเรียนสองสาย
There are two
สาย
ways
หนึ่ง
to
คันธ
learn,
ทุระ
to
นะเขา
practice.
เรีย
The
น
first
ละเอีย
one
ด
to learn. The first one is
เริ่มเรียนบา
Kantatura
ลี
in Pali. They
เพื่อจะไป
understand,
อ่านคำ
they
พี
learn thoroughly to
ใน
learn
เมืองไทย
thoroughly
เรา
and
ส่วนใหญ่
in
เรี
order
ยนบา
to
ลี
understand
จบก็ไม่
the
ได้เอา
text.
ไม่ได้เอาไป
But
ใช้
once
อะไร
but in
เขา
Thailand,
มี
once
วุ
they
ฒิเอาไว้
understand and learn all these
หา
texts,
ตำแหน่งหาอะไร
they
แต่
don't
เยอะที่เป็นอย่าง
do
นั้น
anything with it. They just have
เรียนบาลี
the
แล้วน้อย
degree
องค์
for
มาก
it
ที่
and
จะไปอ่าน
didn't do
พระไตร
anything
ปิฎ
about
ก
it.
ให้รู้เรื่องแล้วเอามาเผยแพร่งั้นวัตถุประสงค์จริงๆที่เรียน
So
บาลี
the true
เพื่อจะ
purpose
อ่าน
of
คัมภีร์ให้ได้
understand to learn to
คัมภีร์
learn
แล้วก็ต้อง
Pali language is
เอามา
to
ลงมือปฏิบัติ
understand the text and then come and
สมั
bring
ยพุทธ
to
กาลก็มี
the practice.
พระองค์หนึ่งนะท่าน
This
เก่ง
happens to the
ท่านทรง
Buddhism
จำพ
era,
ระสูตร
Buddha
ได้
era as well. One of the monks can memorize a lot of texts, which is
จำได้
Potila.
มากนะ
He can memorize a lot of things. He can memorize the Tipitaka.
มีพระไตรปิฎก
Back then, there was no Tipitaka in the Buddha era. The Buddha taught the Vinaya and also Sutra. This monk can memorize a lot of things, and it's actually his demeanor. He's like to memorize these Tipitaka. He's been accumulating these demeanors and reference from many Buddhas.
มาเรียนธรรมะ
He's
ด้วยกัน
he's actually born in this Buddha's era for 7 times there, and Lord Buddha's and the Buddha's seen that these persons learns quite a lot already.
ชื่อจริง
So he
ชื่ออะไร
tries
ไม่
to
รู้นะ
to energize him. Lord Buddha the Buddhas called him Bodhila, which means like the blank book.
จิตที่ทรง
There's only the physical book, but there's no text in
เข้ามา
it,
สู่จิต
which
เขา
means
เรียกท่านอย่างนี้นะ
they
แต่ว่า
he can memorize a lot of things in the Dhamma, but
หลบออกไป
there is no Dhamma in his mind.
ปฏิบัติ
That's why he wanted to start
พระ
practicing.
เจ้า
He's learned from a lot of texts from like 7 Buddhas already, but he didn't attain
ออกไป
the Dhamma at all.
ที่วัดป่าวัดกรรมฐาน
So he decided to come to the forest
กรรมฐานจาก
monks
อาจารย์ใหญ่
in order to learn from the great master of the forest
ท่านมี
monk.
ความรู้เยอะนะ
This great master
จะมาก
seen him as a person who has a lot of
เรียนกรรมฐานลำบาก
conceitedness and
เพราะว่ามันจะ
very
คิด
difficult to learn because
เพราะว่า
these
มีสภาวะ
people keep on
ที่
thinking
รีบมีเครื่องเลย
whenever the phenomena arises, keep on analyzing, criticizing these phenomena and
แล้วมีผลยัง
wish
ไงอะไรที่เป็นเหตุ
what's
การ
the
ณ์เกิดอะไรเงี้ย
what's the proximate cause, what's the result. They keep on thinking and analyzing through the memory. These are actually the hindrance of the Dhamma practice because the mind will be
นี่พระโพธิสัตว์
scattered.
ท่านไปขอเรียนจากอาจารย์ใหญ่ฝ่ายกรรม
พระ
ฐาน
โพธิละ
สอน
wanted to learn Dhamma practice from the great master, from forest monks, but he didn't teach him. Nobody is teaching. nobody taught him at all. So he approached the novice. This novice is actually Arahant, the noble one. He's learned from many Buddhas and he memorized a lot of texts, but he didn't know where to start because there's a lot of the vast informations in the text, in the teachings. This novice tried to see he can endure or not. So he told Papotila that he needs to believe in his words. And Papotila said that I will believe in your words. I will do anything if you want me to. So the novice says that you should enter the waters. And Papotila did so. And he went to the waters and then and the novice said, "Stop." That's when the novice tested his conceitedness. Not like the rest of us, we are very, very stubborn, and we keep on asking, "What's the cause and effects? What's the purpose of doing this? What's the result of it?" There's a lot of questions. You never understand the Dhamma if you keep on asking like this. So Papotila wished, and they said that should be enough, and then always said should be enough, and he said that you should look at the nest of some animals of the lizard, and then there are 6 holes of this nest. If you want to get the lizard, you have to close 5 holes and guarding only 1 single hole in order to catch the lizard, monitor lizard. And Papotila said that, waved his hand and said that I understood. I understood. And actually, this nest of the animal is actually the mind. There are 6 holes, which is where the mind can travel through 6 sense doors. We don't have to guarding all the doors. A lot of people, when they meditating, they guarding all 6 sense doors, and they keep seeing that. For example, if the eye see forms, who see the forms? It's the nerves of the eye. When the eye see forms, could you see that? Could you hear who's here? It's auditory nerve. They keep on thinking like this. It's impossible for them to understand because you keep on being scattered. You learn a lot of things. It makes you scattered. Papotila, when they heard that you should close 5 holes and open only 1 hole, and that 1 hole is actually through the mind. He understood that. When let the mind make contact with the world as naturally as possible, but whenever this happens, then be mindful of the mind. When the eyes see form, for example, beautiful flowers, the mind likes it. We don't have to pay attention to that flower anymore. We have to see the reactions of the mind. Be aware of the mind. We're just only guarding this 1 door only. See the reactions, movements, changes within the mind. Every time that the eye see forms, the mind changes. The ears hear forms, the mind changes. The nose smell, the body feels, the mind knows, the mind changes. Whenever the mind thinks of other things, and the mind changes as well. When you think of one particular person, it makes you happy. Think of another person, it makes you suffering. You hate it. You don't have to guard observing all 6 sense doors. Just observe only 1 single through the mind. That's the teachings of the Master Luangpu Dun as well, that he taught me. That he wanted me to observe my mind on and on. At first, I didn't understand his teaching. He taught me that when I approach him, he's one of the masters. Is very possessed very great ability to teach people differently, each person differently. Some people are taught to observe bone structures, strands of hair, but for me, he wanted me to observe my mind. Before his teaching, he meditating for about an hour in order to inspecting my mind, how to extend my meditation practice. And he said that to practice Dhamma is not difficult. It's only difficult for those who don't practice. You read a lot of books now. Observe your mind. When you observe my mind, I don't understand really because I don't know where the mind is. I don't know what tools I should use to observe the mind. I don't know anything about this. But the master back then, they very strict. They only taught very short phrases, and it's our duty to practice on our own and do trials and errors. That's why he trained us very strictly. So I come to observe my mind. At first, I didn't know where the mind is. I don't know what the mind is like. I don't know where the mind is. So I was a little bit startled at first. I didn't know where to look, what to look, how to look. I don't know what to do. So I do calm mind. That's the first rule of Dhamma practice. If you don't know what to do at all, you don't know how to practice, how to meditate, just do calm mind. When the mind is calm, then it can produce some wisdom to see the way out. Like when you lost in the woods, and if you become startled and astonished, you will keep on that maze. You will be in that maze. You have to be calm first and keep on observing which way is which. So for me, I try to come to observe my mind. He taught me to observe my mind. I was startled, and then I do meditating. Once the mind is calm, I keep on contemplating. The mind is not going to be outside my body. It must be within my body. So I try to meditate so that the mind is not outside the body. I just trying to be aware within the body of this body. Most of us, when do practice Dhamma, the mind conversion, then brighten, go outside to see past and future, ghosts, celestial beings. These are beyond your body. So if you want to do meditate in order to transcend the suffering, you shouldn't pay attention to outside things. You have to pay attention to your own body and mind. That's another rule. The first rule is that if you don't know what to do anything, just do calm samadhi. Then it will give rise to mindfulness and wisdom to see the way out, to the way to continue your practice. The second rule is that you shouldn't practice beyond your body and mind. Just observe within your body and mind. I contemplate on myself that the mind should be within the body, but I don't know where it is. So I try to incline the mind towards the hair. I could see that the hair just gone, just bald skin left, and the bald skin gone. There's only scar left. I couldn't see the mind. I observed all the whole body, the whole skin gone, just only bone structures left. Couldn't see the mind. The bones gone, just only the small pebbles. The pebbles, there's no mind. When I observe the pebbles, and the pebbles gone to become the bright's gone, the bright moving away. I couldn't find any mind at all. I knew that the mind is within the body, but it isn't limited to any part of the body. So I start to have this comprehension. When I was a university student, I went to ordain in Cholapatan temple, and there's a mantra, the morning mantra. The morning mantra talked about Rupu Padana Kanto in Bali, which means Vedana Rupana Kanto in Bali, which means and Sanjuna Parana Kanto. These means that the aggregates that situated of the attachment. These are the aggregates of the attachments, which are forms, feelings, conditioned information, perception, and mind. So these are actually from the text. It's actually necessary. But in this morning mantra, they have a very amazing Dhamma, which is this mantra, especially. It taught us to separate the arrogance. I could see that the mind is not within the form, the mind is not within the feelings. The feelings are actually the place where the place for attachment. When I observe the feelings, happiness gone, I could see the mind. When I observe the suffering, I didn't know where to make the mind suffer. Whenever I observe the mind, it will be happy and comfortable. So I just staying still, very still. The body moves here and there, but I could see that the suffering arises within the body because there's pain. But once the pain gone, I couldn't see the mind as well. So I keep on contemplating that it said that the aggregate of attachment is actually the conditioned formation. Therefore, I try to observe the conditioned formation, which is the thoughts itself. So I apply the mind towards chanting the mantra Buddho Susuto Karuna Mahanavo in Bali. The Buddha who has the great purity, has the great compassion, like the largest river. When I chanting this mantra, I could see that there are a stream of thoughts arising from the emptiness in the middle of my chest, resurfacing from the middle of my chest. I didn't know the content or the story of the thoughts. I just see the stream of thoughts arising, resurfacing. If you know the story of the mind, that's not the ultimate reality. That's the conceptual things. But if you could see the mind things, that's the ultimate reality. If you know that the mind thinks is actually that's the conceptual things. But when you, if you see the story of the mind, that's conceptual things. But if you could see the mind thinks, that ultimate reality, which can be further to vipassana practice. But if you see the story of mind, that's only samatha practice. When it was interpreted as the wording, actually conceptual thing. When you know that the mind thinks, that's the ultimate reality. You see that this conditioned information arises. This is not good or bad yet, because that's the duty of the mind to fabricate things. When you see the stream of thoughts arises, and this stream of thoughts just cut off, and then the mind becomes awakened and bright, that's when it gives rise to the noble mind. And I realized that noble mind, if you are aware of the lost mind, then noble mind will arises on its own. What is the lost mind? It lost in the world of thoughts. It lost in thinking, which happen most often, and lost in watching, then lost in listening, and lost in tasting and feeling. Is less. But most often that happens is lost in thoughts. So the way we practice is you should meditate on an object. Whatever object is fine. Buddha, that's fine. Some people learn from the text that the Buddha is actually samatha practice. And Luangpu Mahabua used to say that he chanting Buddha since beginning to the end. But the people who learn in the text said that should be impossible, because it's samatha practice. But they don't really understand that when you chanting Buddha is only a bait for the fish. That phenomena of the mind is actually the fish itself. So you can use any bait. If the fish hook the bait, then that's fine. If you use the Buddha as the bait. Once the mind wander off, leaves the Buddha, knows so. If the mind focus on the Buddha, knows so. The mind is actually the conceptual thing. Once the mind leaves the Buddha, knows so. The mind focusing on the object, the Buddha knows so. These are two types of mind that are all lost. You can use any other object meditation this way. When the mind drift away to think about the things, no, so the mind will focus on the breath, for example, also as well. Or you can observe the rising and falling of abdomen. Once the mind leaves the object, no, so. And if the mind sent out to see the abdomen, no, so. Likewise, walking meditations, walking with the mind as like the ones that feels, that one senses walking. If the mind sent towards the body walking on the feet, if the mind moves without noticing that Luangpu Dun told us that actually when you send the mind out, for example, send the mind out to the feet, to the abdomen, to the body, you don't have to send the mind out far away to the buildings or skyscrapers. If the mind sending out even to eyes, ears, nose, tongue, mind, these are all the lost mind. I keep on observing these kind of mind. At first, I make mistakes by trying to control the mind to be still. I only did these mistakes for 3 months because I kept on I kept on doing this and become empty. And Luangpu Dun said that was wrong. He said that the mind has duty to fabricate, but you keep doing it till it's just empty and no fabrication at all. He didn't specify and didn't tell the solution. But for the rest of us, if you want to learn by yourself, understand your mistake and doing, you will be on your mobile phones and ignore the practice. So the Master Luangpu Dun said that was wrong, and I tried to do it again. And whenever the sixth sense door makes contact with the world, and if there are any changes within the mind, I try to be self. I try to be aware of them. That's when you knowing this being aware is actually the middle path. The ones that diverge from this middle path is when you're lost in, for example, seeing beautiful women. You didn't know, you didn't see that the mind lost, wander off, leaves the objects. Or if you're sitting meditations, you have the greed arises and want to focusing on the object. You didn't see that greed arises. You didn't know that you want to be calm. Wanting to be calm is actually one of the departments. You try to want to be calm and try to control your mind, then you won't be calm because the calm mind will arise from the mind that is happy. So when you are be mindful of the fabrications of the movement of the mind, when the mind becomes stable, the mind that is not stable is the mind that lost through six sense doors. The mind is stable is the mind that is not lost through six sense doors. You have to come to train yourself and learn about yourself. Observe your mind. If the six sense doors make contact with the world, if there are changes within the mind, for example, seeing the beautiful women and you like it, you like that, and just know, be aware of it. The women walks anywhere, you should ignore them. It's up to her. She can walk anywhere. It's not our concern. You have to observe yourself. The mind likes her. You keep on thinking about her. Just know so. When your ears hears sound, anyone's got heartbroken before? You like to listen to sad songs because you want to make the mind more miserable so that you can be like one of the protagonists in the movies. In the sad movies, especially happens to women. Then become sad, they want to be even sadder. That's when you pay attention to the song, the past. You should ignore them. You have to be aware that the mind is now being sad. Know this one. Whatever the sixth sense or making contact with anything, you don't have to care about. You just have to observe your mind, the reaction of the mind. If there are changes within the mind, know so. And then you realize that the mind sometimes good, happy, and happy, bad. And then once the wisdom and mindfulness become matured, then you'll see that happy and happy, good or bad mind are impermanent. Happiness and happiness are just temporarily, good or bad just temporarily. And the mind will enter the neutrality, equanimity. I will let go of these six senses and come back to them. You see that sometimes my good, bad, happy and happy, you see that these things are actually equal in terms of three characteristics. It arises and falls away. It's all not under our control. It makes our mind burdened as well. When you see this, then the mind enters equanimity and will comes back. It will let go of the world outside first, and then it will let go of the world inside as well. The world inside is actually like good or bad, suffering, happiness. It will let go of this and then come back to the mind. Once it returns to the mind, then this mind will be bright and empty. This mind is actually called luminous mind, Chit Prapason, in Bali. Lord Buddha said that at first the mind is luminous, but it will be saddened because of the defilement. We keep on practicing till we can come back to this luminous mind. It's actually which is the primitive mind before the defilements entering. If you keep on observing like this, if you don't know how to observe the mind, you can observe the body as well. You see that the mind is actually within the body, then you can observe the mind. That the mind keep on changing every time the mind make contact with the world. The six senses make contact with the world. If you could see that reactions of the changes of the mind, you can on and on, you can see the three characteristics of them. You can see that good or bad, happy and impermanent. Body and mind are not ours. Everything that the mind knows is not ours. It's not us. There's only things that are us is the knower mind. We have to practice until so that Luangpu Dun said that you can let go of things on and on. For example, you let go of the physical part first, and then you comes to the feelings, and you let go of the feelings. You can see by seeing that happiness and happiness are impermanent. If you are happy and you didn't realize that, then the greed will infiltrate. If you just being still, and delusion will kick in as well. But so the delusion is the one that is the godfather of all the defilements. Happens with all kinds of defilements. It's all mixed with the delusion. Delusion is the one that opposite to the wisdom. The wisdom will know the truth, but the delusion won't know the truth. If you observe that the six sense doors make contact with the world and give rise to happiness, then greed kicks in and you'll be aware of it. When the eye see forms, the eyes and the forms are actually the forms themselves. When the feelings arises, the feelings are actually the happiness and happiness are actually the feelings. Once the greed kicks in, that's when you are observing the mind. This is when we cultivating the full foundation of mindfulness. You keep on observing, and then you'll realize that unwholesomeness are also equal in terms of three characteristics. then the mind can let go of this. The mind will return to the mind itself. And this point, Luangpu Dun said that most of all the Dhamma practitioners stop here at the luminous mind. Once the mind becomes luminous and bright, and we come pleased with this mind, you see as if the mind has no defilements at all, but actually it lasts for only a short period of time and then it deteriorates. And he taught me to observe that the luminous mind is actually the normal mind. Luang Ta said all this luminous mind is actually or normal mind is actually the ignorant mind. The ignorant mind. And a lot of people stop here. They stuck here. They are called by different names, but actually the same thing. And Luangpu Dun, once I pay respect to him the last time, like 24th of September, and he taught me vastly from afternoon to at nightfall, and he very tired, and I told him that you're very exhausted right now. I have to leave now. And he said that you shouldn't leave yet. You have to memorize this. Whenever you find the normal mind, destroy it. If you find the mind, then destroy it as well, so that you can reach the purity. This is a very important sentence. And he said that it's very important. You should memorize it. And I said, and he said, asked me if I understand it. I said no, but I will memorize it. Then I come to Master Luangpo Put after meeting Luangpu Dun, and Luangpo Put asked me that what teachings the Master Luangpu Dun taught you, and asked me, and I said that Luangpu Dun said that once meet the normal mind, destroy the normal mind. Once meet the mind, destroy the mind, so that you can reach the true purity. And Luangpo Put said that Luangpu Dun said the same thing. And Luangpo Put said that, explain further, when you destroy it, you don't like literally destroy the mind. We try to see, we try to liberate, lose detachment. And he make rules with me that he make an agreement with me if anyone can destroy the mind first, then let each other know. But I realized that it's actually not the agreement. He tried to teach me. This is very very refined like culture, like seniority. He can't teach me because I'm the disciple of the great master. So, but I realized that he wanted to teach me. But many years passed by, and I haven't met him because he got cancer, and he tried to escape from the lay people because whenever he met the lay people, they have to teach them. So he tried to be secluded from people. But then one event he went to TOT company, and I worked there, and I go to listen to his Dhamma. Everybody busy making merits, but then I went to him, approached him, and I said that I haven't seen you in a long time. And Luangpo Put said that I can recognize you, not many Dhamma practitioners. And I said that I cannot destroy the normal mind yet. And he, from being exhausted from teaching, he become very energized, and he taught me that the normal mind is like an eggshell. Once the shake inside mature, then it will pick and it will penetrate the eggshell on its own. And I pay respect to him. That's the last time we met, and I earned very good things from him. He made the deal. and he settled the deal, and he settled the agreement. The mind is like the egg. What is egg? Once the chick matures enough, then it will penetrate the eggshell. The eggshell is actually the cankers or deep defilements. It will cover the egg. And then lower mind is like the egg. How could you make the chick matured? You have to feed them with Marathi, Samadhi, and wisdom till the wisdom become matured. Then the Eight Noble Path will arise on its own. It will penetrate the eggshell, which is the ignorance on its own. Nobody can make the mind liberated. Then the mind liberate on its own. When the Marathi, Samadhi, and wisdom are fulfilled, this is when you can destroy the noble mind. When you heard my teaching that the Buddha taught like this, destroy once meet the noble mind, destroy it. Once meet the mind, destroy it. And people said that was wrong. The mind cannot be destroyed. But they didn't realize what the noble mind is. They thought that I destroy all kinds of mind. It will become tree if you destroy it. It cannot be destroyed. The mind rises and falls, then nobody can control it. We only destroy the wrong view. Once the wrong view is gone, then the luminous mind will be gone as well. And there's another kind of mind, the mind that is no fabrications. Luminous minds are still under the fabrications and conditioned formation. We don't have to talk about like penetrating the eggshells. We're still inside the chicken ourselves. So we have to keep on practicing and being diligent and practicing. In order to see this luminous mind to become three characteristics, how could we achieve this? In these five aggregates, the forms, feelings, perceptions, consciousness, and if you see that the forms are actually subject to impermanent suffering and non-self, we can do this. Once the mind has samadhi, you can see that the mindfulness recognizes the body as not us. You see, for example, our hands are not us. It's only mass of substances. It is very easy to observe all the feelings. When we keep on practicing, we realize that whether the mind is happy and happy, or neither happiness nor unhappiness, whether the body is happy and happy, we cannot choose it. This happiness and suffering within the body are impermanent. Happiness and happiness or indifference within the mind are temporary as well. You see that the feelings are also impermanent. The feeling is something we cannot control. We cannot command the body to not pain or not ache, or the mind to be filled with happiness or not away from suffering. We cannot control. We keep on observing till the mind, until wisdom becomes assured. You see that the feelings are not us. The forms and the feelings are not us. And what about perception? Sometimes when the mind becomes stable, the perception rises. With the things in the past that we never thought of, for example, a face of a person, without intention, they just resurfacing through our mind, and the perception recognized and it happened. And sometimes, I'm sorry, you want to forget, you memorize them. Sometimes you want to memorize things, but you forget them. These perceptions are perfect. Or the conditioned information, whether the mind is wholesome, good or bad, we cannot choose them. If we can choose them, we can command the mind to be good all the time, but we cannot do that. Or if you, for example, tell yourself that you don't believe in any man, you're angry at that person, if they talk good to you and then you give another chance, you don't want to hurt, you don't want to, you and try to make accusation to talk to that person again. If the mind give rise to the greed, you cannot command it. All the good or bad fabrications and you cannot command. The rest, the last one is consciousness. Consciousness, or mano in Pali, chitta, mano, and consciousness or vijnana are three different terms, through different contexts. If it perceives the objects through the eyes, that's called vijnana. But if it works and fabricates and processes, that's called chitta. Or the last one, if you receive the objects as mano. So why don't we use forms? Why we use consciousness or vijnana in the five aggregates? Why not the mind or the citta? Why don't we use citta? Why we use vijnana in the five aggregates, not the citta? What's the vijnana? Vijnana is actually the consciousness perceived through the six senses. For the rest of us who've been practicing and the mind becomes stable for a while, and you can see that sometimes the mind are rooted in different doors. Like for example, the mind flows or rooted. The consciousness is the one, or vijnana, rooted or take a grip on the objects. For example, it's like creating trees, like creating realms and suffering. If you keep on practicing, you realize that vijnana can root it into six senses all the time, constantly. You can see that when it rooted through the eyes, you cannot control it. When you rooted in the ears, rise and falls away, you cannot control it. Rooted into the nasal body, you cannot control. The mind drift away to world thoughts, you cannot command it, cannot control it. When it's flow or rooted in different ways, you cannot control it. If you have the strong mindfulness and good samadhi, you could see the vijnana working, processing. Those who learn in Tipitaka, they don't understand. I have to say that because there's one monk that learned the text a lot. You can see that when the mind see these six, the mind rooted in these six senses, you can see that they are impermanent. When you root in the eyes and it sends the signals through the mind, then the mind keep on processing, interpreting, and give values to those images that it sees and interpret it, and then give value to it. Then it consumes the object. It processing through different steps. That's the path of mind. We don't have to learn a lot. We have to observe, witness the truth. When we actually meditating in Dhamma practice, actually when we learn Abhidhamma, Abhidhamma is all about like citta, the mind, mental factors, and Nibbana. The forms and the mental factors, the mind. We actually learn Abhidhamma or higher doctrine, but we learn from seeing the truth, seeing the real thing. But the wisdom that arises is not as equal, as refined as the Abhidhamma, because that's the wisdom for those in Buddha Yuga. That's very refined. We only know basic things as how to not suffer. Our wisdom will not be as much as people in the past. But for those who learn about a lot of texts, then they can start from observing the mind. Start from the mind. I was confused back then. I don't know where to start. So Luangpu Dun taught me to observe my mind so I can understand that the mind becomes stable and mindfulness know that each aggregates are not us. It's under three characteristics. And then once it comes to vijnana, I could see that the vijnana is impermanent. It's not us as well. Keep on repeatedly observing this and see that there's no us within these aggregates. And if we can cut through our mind, the rest of them is gone. Why? Because the vijnana, the consciousness, causes the mental and physical parts. If you could see the mind that roots in the six sense doors, you could keep on practicing and you realize that whenever the mind roots in anything, it gives rise to mental, physical parts. They are all realms and suffering. The realm is actually the minds that lost in the fabrication. The noble ones, the arahants, isn't lost in the realms. Actually, a arahant actually thinks, but they're not into it. They're not like overwhelmed by thoughts. When you're into things, they're rooted in and attached to that realms. For arahant, they just let the mind work, and then they're not into it. They're not overwhelmed by these things. You have to train yourself. At first, you have to. So you practice yourself. First of all, you have to maintain the 5 precepts and doing meditation object. Do the form of meditation. If you can walk, then walk, because you will be the samadhi derived from walking meditations will be stronger than sitting. And once that getting very old, and if you cannot walk, then you can sit in meditation, not like daydreaming, sitting or overcasting on yourself. When you say overcasting, it's like you very focus on the objects. When you said about aramanupanicana, it's when you're staring at the objects that meddle with the greed, that's the unwholesome mind. When you're focusing on things and making the mind become stressful, that's actually unwholesome mind. So the language might not truly communicate the terms. Thai people use the word jhana as a overcasting. Ramanupanicana. Jhana is like overly focused on things. And people when they focus on things, they meddle with the greed, which is the contributory factors of creating realms and suffering at the end. So overcasting is too much. Instead of overcasting, you just sensing, being aware or sensing the objects of meditations constantly and on. That's when you're doing aramanupanicana. So if you keep on observing the 3 characteristics, being aware of the physical mental parts, and the wisdom to see the 3 characteristics, and try to pay attention to these things in these 3 characteristics, that's a lakhanupanicana. We not focus on the 3 characteristics. One of the monks that ordained here, we've been focusing for 40 years, and it's about 2 or 3 months, and he's still focusing. It's good that he can fix this, but for some people, it cannot be fixed because they can go to bad realms. That should be all. Now, when I observe the Dhamma practitioners who submit homework, it's a lot easier now. I just say that you should do more, you should do. Back then, to teach one person is very difficult to make them walk the right walk the middle path. But for the rest of people here, submit homework, that's very good. Number one, I practice formal meditations and sitting meditations for about 2 hours. In daily life, I try to observe the mind that lost and see bodily movements. And Luangpu said that do not hurry. Luangpu said that you should continue practicing. Number two, I'm practicing information sitting for about 20 minutes, and in daily life I use Buddha. I just started practice for a year, and I'm not sure whether I walk the right path or not. Correct or wrong depends on whether you have the mindfulness or not. And Thai people, when they think of Dhamma practice, they just focus on the meditation. But actually, the things that we have to prioritize is the mindfulness. That's why the four fountains of mindfulness is the only path, the main path of liberation. There are two stages of four fountains of mindfulness. The first one is to give rise to the mindfulness. When the right mindfulness arises, then the right samadhi will coexist as well. Once you have the right mindfulness and right samadhi, then the wisdom cultivations will be arising as well. If you don't have the right, correct mind, then you won't have the right samadhi, and you'll be too stressful. When you practice, the mind is stable, the mind is separate, the arrogant. But now you have to observe that there's nothing permanent. Even the known mind itself is impermanent. You see that it's temporary. As it becomes a thinking mind, it's lost in the world of thoughts. Actually, the mind that lost is actually through the mental channel, but sometimes it's unwholesome. If your mind lost in, for example, we see that the mind lost in thoughts, just know so. Do not forbid it to happen. When you think, when you work, you have to think. Otherwise, when the boss commands you to do things, analyze this, do this, just know, just see, and you got fired. So you have to be aware the timing, the good timing. Continue practicing. Number three, you just send them out of bed. Just go on, ask questions. I practice for about 2 or 3 hours a day. In daily life, I use body as an object of meditation, like see the body, make contact making still give rise to the defilements. I have less samadhi, but once I start practicing more amount of time in meditation, is it increases or not? Paul said that it's not enough yet, because you see that the mind is not on the base. The mind is outside. Your mind is outside. It's like you try to cultivate the wisdom, but it won't be able to cut the defilements. Because in order to eradicate the defilements, all this morality, samadhi, and wisdom will come together within the mind. Because you see that the mind is outside now. Just trying to breathe. Try to bring the awareness through the breath and see the breath inside your body. The mind is very scattered. So before practicing Dhamma, you have to chanting and walking, and then walking meditation, see by the mind as an when the mind as an observer, and the mind will gain some strength. When the body moves and the mind knows, the mind won't go beyond the body. The samadhi is not yet there. Just when the body moves also, then the strength of the mind will be enough. Number two is too much. It's beyond sufficient. Number two is like relax once the homework done. Number three, you don't hurry. The mind to practice Dhamma, it will be very short and it will be easy. Number four, I practice informal meditations by meditating half an hour. In daily life, I chanting. When I don't work, the mindfulness comes to the present moment. Once there's a lot of work, I can be in the present more and more. You practice well, practice good, correct. Number five, Number 3, you could see that the mind drift away and flow. When the mind moves towards the hands and also the mind moves and the mind wander off to things about things and also as well. So use the body movement as your object of meditation and try to be aware of the mind. Number 5, I practice in formal meditations by sitting about 20 minutes, and in daily life I use bodily movement. You controlling yourself too much, if you have a lot of intention, then it will be exhausting. To practice Dhamma is actually full of happiness, because the correct mind or right mind has only two feelings, happiness and indifference. Indifference actually, or neutrality is actually the refined happiness. If you practice and the mind becomes tight and tense, then that's unwholesome. It's become unwholesome because you have the greed to practice Dhamma and you're overfocusing on the object. So if you can see the minds that develop greed within your mind, then you have to be aware of it. Be aware of it with the natural mind, with the luminous mind. The mind that's the greedy mind is the one that meddle with the defilements. It's not the noble mind. It's not the luminous mind. It's a stressful mind. It's controlling mind. It's you have to relax more. You can see that the body moves. Your body moves just now, but you forget about it. So now it's getting better. Now it's different from the previously. So move and also move and be aware of it. Number 6 is I practice in formal meditations for about 1 hour at least. And in daily life, I try to be aware of the body movements and feelings. I see the mind lost and arising through 6 doors. When thinking of Dhamma practice, I see the mind that wants to control and practice correctly. So it makes my mind overfocusing, and I see the mind likes the calmness. Sometimes the mind is awakened and comfortable and light, but I'm not sure whether I'm overfocusing or. You practice very well, very good. The mind is correct. The mind is awakened. It's awakened strongly. It's not just awakened like 3 minutes and then become asleep again. The mind can sustain. The aggregates are separate. You could see the vijnana or the consciousness rooted in things. Very good. Whenever the mind rooted in anything, if you are not aware of it, then it gives rise to suffering, wholesomeness. Now you're controlling the mind. You're controlling the mind now. Good. You can see like that. Cool. That's very good. Number 7. I practice Dhamma and chanting about 3 hours. And when observing the body and chanting Buddha, I could see that I observe the delusions and make my mind asleep. Should I start anew? Go on. I could see that the conceitedness, and you give recommendation, suggestion. The Paul said that just move. When you're getting older, when observing the mind, you become asleep very easily. The delusion will kick in very easily. Therefore, try to use more coarse object meditations, which is the movements. I didn't suggest you to do the full postures because it takes time for you to change the postures, then the mind quickly moved. So even just move a little bit here and there, on and on, you just have to be aware of them. If you keep on moving repeatedly, then the mind will controlling or focusing on that movement. So, for example, if you doing house chores like helping your wife, for example, every man helping like doing house chores and, for example, washing the clothes, is you see the mind that's scolding your wife. Observe them, moves, and also the strength of the mind is too little, too weak. You just see that when you move, you don't see that. moves in natural way, that's good. But if you have intentions to do things repeatedly, then you become enjoy about it and you forget about practice. You lack of mindfulness easily. So when moves and be aware, then the mind will gain some strength to be stable. Soon as the mind becomes stable, the aggregates will be separated. Because in fact, the aggregates are naturally separated. We are the one who put them together, and we have the wrong view to put together, combine these aggregates together. So if your mind is correct, the aggregates will be separate automatically. See that each aggregate are subject to three characteristics. If you can observe any particular aggregates and do so, for example, the forms of the body, you can observe the forms of the body with a stable and neutral mind. You can observe the feelings of vijnana consciousness through with the stable and neutral mind. Keep on gradually practicing. Do not hurry. Good. Number 8. I practice informal meditation for about 3 hours, walking meditation, and I when the mind sending out also. In daily life, I observe the body and use the Buddha as of meditation. I can see the three characters 2 times while walking, but during sitting meditations, I become drowsy very easily. So instead of sitting, you should walk, because sitting and you become asleep, then that's not good. You should go to bed. Once you fully rested, then you go and walking or doing house chores, doing working. Once the body moves, be aware of it. Do not let the mind wander away. Once the body moves, sense that, so that the mind becomes stable and stronger. Your mind is a lot better, but it likes to go outside and become deluded. And the another thing that you should observe is that the conceitedness, that you are the best. That's very evil thing, because it happens quite a lot. When you see that those people who don't practice, you feel that you look down on those who don't practice. You see that they are just menial and anything. You'll be fooled by these defilements. That should be all for today. But my voice is still okay. That's weird. But when I give talk Dhamma, if Dhamma talks in my monastery, it's very, very humid. So the voice just gone very easily because of the sinus. But sometimes I try to. Some of the master, are you tired? Some master asked me, are you tired? I actually said yes, I'm tired, but I do work for the death of Lord Buddha. I do this to offer to the Buddha. See that there's a rapture arises when thinking of the Buddha with the pity. Everything that I did today, I don't try to find the money or fame. I just want to offer for the Buddha. It's very difficult for them to have this knowledge, to have this belief to the Buddhism that we come to practice, and the Dhamma will enter our heart. That's when we preserve. That's the best way we preserve the Buddhism. So that should be all for today. I'm very pleased that everyone's listening to the Dhamma and you're interested in Dhamma practice. Some places, when old people, I give talks to old people in different places, and they eating and they talking while listening, and the university children as well. Those university students like playing mobile phones under the tables, and I actually see them. Actually, they didn't know that I couldn't see them, so it's very difficult to teach this. So be happy, everyone.